Hello. So for this week's journal, I will be discussing a recent interaction with a new patient. It was a first time visit, so this one was a little more in time and a little more in depth than the regular visits. It was for a 6 year old young man, little boy. His mom and dad was concerned about some of his behaviors that he had been having in school as well as at home. In school, he was kind of isolative and didn't want to talk to the other kids. He didn't do much answering of questions, and he had a hard time with some of his work. When he got home, he was more open, but he also had his isolative moments as well. The parents thought due to his grades, he may have possibly been having a diagnosis of ADHD, and they wanted, excuse me, to get him assessed just to verify. So the nurse practitioner spoke with the parents and asked a lot of questions. She did the detailed assessment, the initial assessment, and then she also talked to the young man and asked him some questions. It was very noticeable to myself that during the assessment he couldn't stay still. I do know that you have to also remember the age group of who you're assessing. Of course, as a young child, a lot of times they do be, I mean, they are like, very hyperactive or move around a lot. But his hyperactivity to me stuck out more because even when she would ask him questions about himself and some of the things he thought about his school and his teachers and his classmates, he just couldn't keep still. And also, it could have been some nervousness as well. She didn't give him a diagnosis after that first initial visit. She did let the parents know that medication is something they don't have to automatically agree to if they don't feel like they wanted to do medicine, and that she didn't recommend any medicine at the time. She did feel that a lot of his behaviors were due to him first starting out in a private school and then being moved to a public school. You have to understand that a lot of kids have to adjust in his situation with him being so young and starting out in Head Start in private school and then abruptly being moved to a school that was for the public community was a big difference for him. So I think that had a lot to do with his behaviors myself as well as the nurse practitioner that I am doing my clinicals with. She did tell me her myself when she finished talking with the parents and when the assessment was over, myself and some of the other students that she worked with, that she felt that the young man may have ADHD. She didn't want to quite diagnose him yet. She wanted to give it a little time. She did order some therapy for him if the parents were willing, and they did say that they were. And some of it was play therapy. They actually wanted to do play therapy with him to see how that went because he didn't have much of a feeling for wanting to be around other kids. So what they did was agree to the play therapy, and they're going to follow up in 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks to see exactly how he's doing. The young man, he seemed like he was very shy, very nervous, but hyperactive. And to me, those things kind of don't always go together with some kids. So it kind of caught my attention that he didn't want to give any eye contact. He didn't want to look at her. He didn't want to talk to her, but he couldn't stay still. So I do feel like in the future there's going to be more diagnoses to come, but I do understand her wanting to give it more time and not want to just take one initial assessment to give him a diagnosis and also to order medication. And they wanted to try to see how the therapy went. I felt like the nurse practitioner did great because she didn't jump straight to medicine. I think she also did great because she assessed the parents alone together with the child and then the child together with the parents. So I do think that was great. And I think a lot of the questions that she asked are some of the questions the parents didn't even think of, and some of the things she explained to them, I think they didn't even think about, like the change in his school and his environment. So I felt like she did great, not only as her job as a nurse practitioner, but to also get the parents to understand that parenting is bigger than just sending your child to school and expecting them to do great. You have to understand the changes that you make in their life as well, and that these kids have to sometimes adjust without just slapping a diagnosis on them. I learned a lot from that assessment. I did enjoy it. I can't wait to work with kids in the future because I do want to work with kids in psych because I have worked with them in the past as an RN, but I do want to work with them as a nurse practitioner as well. And what I did get from that in a positive way was, like I said, the way she brought things to the family attention that they hadn't quite noticed. I don't think anything kind of negative came from that. I didn't see any type of negative viewpoints at all. And I do plan to integrate some of the things that she used in my future practice, like the way she talked to them, the openness, the comfort that she tried to make the child feel, even though I don't think he ever got quite too comfortable, but she did try. And her trying therapy before just slapping medicine or diagnosis on him. And that's about it. Thank you.